So Tim, my friend, we first met, I want to say 2001 almost, maybe 2000.
Yeah, somewhere around there, when you were filming your feature film.
No, this was before that.
Oh, you're right. We met at a high school party.
Yeah, neither of us were in high school. You were on the hood of a car contemplating life and the greater existence.
Of course.
And I really liked who you were, and I was bummed that I probably would never see you again because this was the days before social media as we know it today. So it was hard to, I don't know, if you didn't get someone's phone number, it'd be really hard to try to track them down later on because you couldn't search through friends, and it was harder to stalk each other. So I just chalked it up to like, well, he was a cool guy, I'll probably never see again. And then I want to say 4 or 5 years later, then that's when we met up again for Flying Saucer Rock and Roll.
Yep.
You broke that chair.
I broke that chair. I broke the breakaway chair, which everyone said don't sit on. And I was really tired, and I totally forgot like an hour later and just sat on it, and it broke.
Well, to your credit, that was a pretty intense shoot.
it was a
lot of zombies. Yeah.
A lot of zombies.
Yeah. But no, that was great. And then we kind of lost touch again. And it wasn't until Adam brought us back together, who used to work on the show a lot. So that was really cool.
And so it was funny, kind of surreal to sort of have another friend of mine introduce me to you again. He's like, oh, you should meet my friend Eric. And I was like, I know Eric.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Like 13, 14 years later.
Man,
and you just made a Weird Al video.
I did.
How does that feel?
Like incredibly surreal. When he emailed, it didn't feel real. My roommate at the time had Al play accordion on one of his albums.
We're talking about MC Lars.
MC Lars.
Yeah.
MC Lars.
We've had on the show.
Yeah, MC Lars, he had Al play on one of his tracks. I just played accordion. I guess he saw one of the videos I did for MC Lars and sent MC Lars a message and said, hey, do you know Tim Thompson? I'd love to get him to do a video like that for me. And then we just started corresponding and got it done.
And you got to work with Al. What was that like?
Not really like the persona that he gives off in like videos and interviews and stuff like that. He's really, really quiet and, actually a lot quieter than I thought he would be.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Someone like that who's so extroverted in his persona, I would imagine would be kind of the opposite, just to balance out his psyche, I would think.
But what was cool is he contacted his band, because I'm a really big Weird Al fan, like that goes way back before middle school, like 5th grade. So I was interested in getting his band in the video because I haven't seen a video recently that had featured his entire band.
And Steve J, Jim West,
and
John Bermuda Schwartz.
And John Bermuda Schwartz, who's also his archivist, by the way.
Oh.
He keeps like all the records of all the stuff that Al does in all media and just kind of organizes it for him. And that's like, he loves doing it, which is great though, because he knows like so much about music. He came out to the same shoot on the same day Al did, and he the song, I don't know if you know, but it's a
The Lame Claim to Fame?
Lame Claim to Fame. It's sort of Al, this is what Al's words, he calls it a pastiche of a band called Southern Culture on the Skids.
Yeah.
Who's kind of famous for a song called Camel Walk. And John Bermuda Schwartz came to set that day with the exact custom drum kit that the drummer, I think his name is Dave Hartman. You might want to fact check that, but I think his name is Dave Hartman. Yeah. And the exact drum kit that he uses, which is this red, white, and blue sort of custom drum kit. And so he knew exactly which kit was, and because he has so many connections with so many different drum shops all over, he was able to find the exact kit that guy uses. And
wow.
And he brought it to set, which is cool.
I think that brings up a very good point that a lot of people don't realize is how, yes, there's Weird Al, but the backing musicians are equally talented, and they're kind of the unsung heroes. They've been part of Weird Al since the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at, they're in almost every one of his old videos. Like they're the backup singers in One More Minute. They're they're in Dare to Be Stupid. They're always his like sort of backup. The only band member I didn't get in my video was the keyboardist.
Is it the same guy that goes on tour?
I think it might be.
If it's the same guy, I remember talking to him when I was in 6th grade and in the back of the Catalyst
I don't know why
hours.
I don't know why it wouldn't be. I feel like Al kind of stays really close with the same people. I mean, I met all these guys and it was really surreal because I'd seen their pictures and seen them in videos since I was a kid.
Had you seen Weird Al in concert?
You know what? That's the one thing I haven't done. I've actually never seen Al in concert.
I'm sure he's going to be touring.
Oh yeah.
I would definitely
I'm definitely going to go. I definitely want to go and check out his Mandatory Fun tour. I'm sure it's going to be incredible.
It's going to be mandatory.
It's going to be mandatory for me to attend. I mean, so I actually got to work with him before I even
Yeah.
I've seen him live.
Wow, so you got the band in there, and then you also got Dr. Demento.
I did get Dr. Demento.
What was that like?
He's a little bit stranger, I would say, than Al, but he's still very nice, very professional. He came out for one day and we just shot him against the green screen in my house and got him to sort of like mouth the lyrics to Lame Claim to Fame. But then after, he sat around for like an hour telling us stories about what it was like to be in high school and be Dr. Demento. Yeah, it's really interesting. Apparently he was really unpopular in high school. I don't know if it might be hard to believe. He was kind of a nerd.
Being facetious there, aren't you?
Yeah. But what happened is he started getting invited to a lot of parties because he had like the best record collection in the school. And he became Dr. Demento because he found that when he would do his radio programs, everybody would always request like the novelty records that he would play. And sort of Dr. Demento was born from that.
Wow.
So he just sat around and just told the stories for a while. And then when he left, he did his whole stay demented thing. You know, it was really kind of weird. Like at the door, he was like, stay demented. And it was great.
If you'd given a choice, would you have rather done a different song?
I think maybe before I had done the video, I would have probably wanted to do a different song. I was a little disappointed that it wasn't one of the big parodies. After doing the video, I'm actually really happy because the concept for the video, which was sort of another video that I had done for MC Lars, which Al saw, and he's like, oh, can you do that for me? It's like the concept works really well with the video.
It does. And I have to remind you too, Dare to Be Stupid, one of my favorite songs and videos,
was just a pastiche as well. Yeah, it was a style parody, yeah. And I kept thinking about that too, like a lot of my favorite, like one of my favorites off of Polka Party, not one of his more well-known albums.
Right there.
Right there.
Dog Eat Dog.
Dog Eat Dog,
Yeah.
which is, I think, a Talking Heads sort of style parody.
Oh yeah, that's a great song too.
Yeah, it's fun. And after the video was released, I was actually really happy that was the song I got to do the video for.
It's funny, man. It is a funny.
Thank you.
One of the funnier, and the video is great. There's so much going on, and people they love to find all the details that you put in there.
Weird details. I wish I had more time to sort of do more of that. But I was happy that they picked up on pretty much everything that I put in there. They haven't picked up on every little thing I did. Like no one's mentioned the fact that I have like surgeon's gloves and I cut the thing open with the heart. No one's ever mentioned that that's like a surgeon reference. At least not in the comments. Maybe people have got it and they just like, that's too obvious or something.
How long did the video
The video took from start to finish, and we're talking like everything. Emails, writing the treatment, all the post-production involved. It took a year. I wasn't like working on it like 8 hours a day, you know, 6 days a week or anything. I was, I had my regular job I had to go to, so
in your spare time, basically.
So basically my spare time.
You had no life.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, the last 3 months were pretty intense. I did nothing else.
Yeah.
The last 3 months.
Wow.
So I would almost say like it probably took me about 4 or 5 months of just like solid like everyday work.
Wow. What percentage is your ideas versus his?
It was Al's concept. But he let me write the treatment. I sent it to him, and he just kind of critiqued the treatment. And then once he was happy with it, he's like, okay.
The final edit, like, was there many changes?
There was a section where it goes to the bathroom with Jonah Hill, and like I wanted to do sort of like a flickering effect, like the flickering fluorescent lights in like a bathroom. And I'm not the best stop animator in the world, so it kind of just looked like a mistake, like the lights were going out.
Oh no.
And so Al was like, yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So I had to change that. And so if you notice in the video, there's like a clear like wipe where I just like digitally wipe from one page to the next, which kind of depressed me because like because right from the get-go, there's a digital wipe, whereas like I wanted to keep the whole video as much as possible
in camera
stuff.
Yeah.
And I think about probably like 90% of the video is, which I was really proud of.
If you'd given a choice, would you have rather done a different song?
I think maybe before I had done the video, I would have probably wanted to do a different song. I was a little disappointed that it wasn't one of the big parodies. After doing the video, I'm actually really happy because the concept for the video, which was sort of another video that I had done for MC Lars, which Al saw, and he's like, oh, can you do that for me? It's like the concept works really well. After the video was released, I was actually really happy that was the song I got to do the video for.
I do miss his music video parodies. Oh, I do miss those. I wish he would have done one of those, something like that.
To me, that was the only thing that sort of that didn't bug me, but it was the only thing that I sort of miss is like how he used to do like straight up, like it was, he parodied the song and then he did a straight up parody of the video. Like back in the 90s, it was like amazing. Like he actually got the same soundstage they filmed Smells Like Teen Spirit in.
Same with Eat It too.
The same extras too, apparently.
Oh, and Fat too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, he filmed that same bus station. In fact, Michael Jackson was such a fan of Al. He gave him like props to use. Like he would like a lot of like the costumes and stuff like that Al used was given to him by Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson thought he was awesome.
I want to see another movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I think UHF 2 would be an amazing movie. Now with the cult following, you know, like I think a lot of movies, I think when it came out, you know, nobody really like.
Well, it came out the same weekend as Batman.
Yeah, it's hard to compete.
Orion made the mistake because it rated so high in test audiences that they put it on the same weekend as Batman, the return of comic book movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way you're going to compete with that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was a bad placement. Yeah. So it just didn't really get a chance to breathe.
I think it's a great movie. I know that, you know, a lot of people, even Al himself, kind of, I've heard in some interviews, he sort of blamed himself for the failure of the movie, but I don't, to me it's not a failure, because when I saw it as a kid, it was like the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my life. It was basically like The Naked Gun meets my favorite person in the world at that time, which was Al. So to me it was like, it was so great. And I think he's great, you know, like so Sylvester Stallone impersonations and just like, I feel like there's so many like internet comedians nowadays, specifically the Nostalgia Critic, who I think basically his entire range of humor just comes from Weird Al.
It's kind of annoying, actually.
Yeah, well, because it's not, because Al does it the way Al does it, and I think when other people try to do it, it just doesn't ring as authentic. But Al's able to do his own sort of like weird, wacky brand of humor that like just nobody can really do. I don't know. It would be interesting to see what the next Weird Al movie project would be if they did it. You know, I think they should. I think he should. I mean, why not? I think there's. Like, I would say there's an audience for it.
Definitely. I mean,
I would go see it.
Yeah, and I think he still resonates with kids today.
Yeah, because he's able to stay relevant through doing modern parodies, and I think it's sort of. I think that's why it's first of all a testament to his talent, but it's also like it's sort of what's cool about his niche is that he's able to stay relevant over. I think it's 30 years at this point almost.
Almost 40. I mean, we're like 34 years.
Yeah, because when did...
I was doing a little bit of research, and he is behind Madonna and Michael Jackson. He's the third artist to have a top 40 hit in every decade since the 80s.
It's so crazy.
So, I mean, and that's with his parody of Blurred Lines, Word Crimes, hit number 39 on Billboard's top 100.
Yeah, and it's amazing that this is number one. It's
which I love that lyric video. It's adds great. So much to that song because he's going through it so quick, and that's just I feel like that's years of pent up rage built up in Al.
I actually have a confession to make.
Okay. You know the cameras are rolling.
Yes, I do know the cameras are rolling. I committed a horrible word crime in relation to Weird Al.
Uh-oh.
Everybody was like, my friends were all bugging me. They're like, "Oh, you should do an AMA for your video," and I was like, "Okay, I'll do an AMA."
Was this on Reddit or?
This was on Reddit. I did a Reddit AMA just for the thing, and I got a few people to talk to me.
That's cool.
But I misspelled Weird Al's name. I reversed the I and the E.
Oh no.
And so.
Oh right. Okay.
And so I committed a really horrible word crime. But like, I hope Weird Al would forgive me because I'm dyslexic. And I'm not like the dyslexic kind that like flips the B's and the D's. I'm the dyslexic kind where it's like word comprehension and you know, like sentence comprehension is tough for me. So when I look at a thing, it looks like it's spelled right, and then I'm done, and then I go, oh, wait a minute.
I do that with Brian and Brain.
Yeah.
That's really hard for me.
It's tough.
Yeah. I always have to spell it one way. I'm like, no, that's Brain. Okay, go back.
Yeah. So I got a little bit of hate for that on my AMA for.
People are gonna hate.
Yeah, you know, and so but you know, it's almost like it works though because of the word crime song. It's almost like, yeah, of course somebody's gonna mess it up. But now it's there on the internet forever.
Yeah. Do you think this will be his last sort of album, and we'll just see compilations maybe in the future?
From what I've seen on the interviews, it sounds like he still wants to make music. He still wants to make albums. I feel like he can kind of do whatever he wants. I mean, and so I hope we see more albums, and I think we will. It doesn't sound like he's stopping.
And I think that's something that Al's realized, especially with YouTube, where people are pumping out parody songs the next day almost.
Absolutely. He's mentioned that, he finds it really hard because it's like, he was like, I can't do Gangnam Style. I can't do Gautier. He's like, those have been done to death.
If he waits too long, everybody does it.
But it says something that people have done similar material, yet he still releases the album and people still buy it.
Yeah, they still buy it and it gets to number one.
It gets to number one. So it's
insane.
It just says something about like how he does his parodies. You know you're getting quality.
Yeah. I think part of it too is that Weird Al stays away from anything too sexually explicit, drug related, and generally he's got a positive outlook. And I think that helps.
Although I will say that Weird Al is always PG-13.
Yeah,
he's never fully PG. He always has a little bit of subversive stuff in there, which always I would always get a little bit nervous sometimes, because sometimes we would be playing the records in the car, and he would say something, and my mom would like react a little bit.
In Jackson Park Expressway, or Jackson Park Express, he talks about staring at your boobs.
Yeah.
He mentions that. And on Foil, he mentioned something about getting anal probed by the aliens. I was like, what? Wait.
He always introduces a little bit. If you notice, on like every one of his albums, there's always a few lyrics. I mean, not to mention that he also, like, when he does like the polkas or whatnot, that he's just using their lyrics.
True, yeah.
And like he'll bleep like the really big expletives, but he'll still include like a lot of like the sexual stuff.
Well, like Get Lucky Tonight. I mean, he says, let's get lucky tonight.
Yeah.
Right. So,
you know, and he did like that song on the Alpocalypse, I think, I Want to Be Your Lover. I think that's Alpocalypse. And it's just like a song of sexual innuendos. It's really funny. But like he would always do that where it's like he would like he's
push it a little bit.
He's a little bit he definitely understands that he can like throw a little bit of that stuff in there, and like he still gets away with it because he generally does it in such a sweet way. The thing that I think will always keep Al relevant is that when kids hear it, they flip out and they love it. It's sort of like you're sticking it to the man a little bit by listening to Weird Al. Like when I first heard kids on the playground start singing Fat instead of Bad, I thought it was just kids who'd made it up. But then when I realized it was a real like parody, that's when I really got interested. I was like, so you mean all this funny stuff that I'm laughing about on the playground is like, there's a real guy behind this and he's really doing it? Because like I grew up, my dad would like have me listen to like Ray Stevens or like Alan Sherman. Yeah. And then when Weird Al came into the picture, it was like he took over.
Same with me.
For all my comedy records and almost for all my music listening, it was almost exclusively Al.
Which is funny because I got real defensive of Al. Like other people would have parodies and it's like, no, it's not as good as Al's.
It usually wasn't. There's something about how he writes his parodies that it's like they're inevitable. It's like there's no other version that could be done that would be better. Like it's like you listen to some of these YouTube parodies and it's like, oh, they're clever. But there's something about Al's where it's just like, well, that's the version. That's like I'm Fat is totally the parody of I'm Dad. Eat It is totally the parody of Beat It. Like there's no, it's like it's inevitable. That is the parody. And if anybody else tries, it's just not. It's going to be one step below. Yeah, always.